Welcome to my first live stream actually, and the plan for today is to prune some of my indoor bonsai that you can see right here. So my Portulacaria afra, my tigerbark ficus, and also one of my ficus cuttings. Maybe we also have time to look at my Ficus Ginseng that also is in need of a prune, so I might also throw that one in by the end of this video. But I would say let's start with the one right here in the middle, which is my Portulacaria afra. So I'm getting the other ones simply a bit out of the way so you have a clear view of this tree right here. So let me move it a bit. Also adjust my camera so you really can see the entire tree. And I would say let's start. As you can see, it has already become quite bushy again, so a lot of new growth that has developed now again over the last couple of weeks in summer. So I would say we simply get in, take some of this new growth tips out. Simply, I want to get it a bit more narrow again. Of course, I will also try to get it basically to diverge in those areas then. So basically spread out 2 new branches wherever we cut it. So that is the main goal for this one. Actually, the side you see right now, I am quite happy with because I have pruned it not too long ago. But if we look at the back here, you will see that actually there is some more need to prune here. See, a lot of this growth here has developed in the last couple of weeks. So definitely we will need to do something here. I also am not quite happy with the distance between the leaf nodes. As you can see here, it's too long simply for Portulacaria afra. So we'll take out the entire new growth except for 2 new leaf pairs here. And I will simply go through it here and do the same one all around here on those new branches. So also here, for example, simply go in, take it out. Here is a new shoot that is actually way too long. As you can see here, it's basically starting from down here, way too long, already moving far too much up. So we take this one out and later on also look at the ones down here. But right now I would still focus a bit more on this branch here. For a long time I thought I would keep this one on because it gives it an interesting movement. But when we look at it here, it just doesn't fit to the overall design of the tree. So I think it is time to actually say goodbye to this part of the branch here. So we take this one out, simply get it more symmetrical again when it comes to the size of the different side branches. We have a lot of suckers actually developing again. So one down here that I will take out and some other ones actually up here that we also should get rid of. This one here I will keep because it will actually be at a good position to develop a new branch here on the side, and I would rather actually get rid of this one that has been here for longer but has never developed anything. So why not get rid of this one if it hasn't done anything until this point anyway. So let me move this a bit to the side also to give you still a bit of a view from here. We can see that here this growth in general is too high, so we'll cut it back. Either it will die back from this point or it will develop new leaves. Both things actually would be fine from this growth point, so nothing to worry there. What we can see here from the side is that here we still have a shoot that is too long. So we also take this one out. And otherwise from this side, I think I'm actually quite happy. Let me turn it around. And we can see, well, yeah, that one actually we can also take out. So let me take out this one. And other than that, this one up here, maybe some new growth that looks a bit weak. So we just give it a bit of a reset basically. Take also this one out. And I think other than that, I would keep it the way it is. Here's to still see a dead leaf we can take out. Here also 1 or 2 dead leaves that we of course can also remove. But other than that, I'm quite happy with the way it looks now. So first tree finished, I would say. So we'll move this one to the side and move on to one of the other trees. And I would suggest we actually take a look at this little cutting of a ficus that I took. a Ficus benjamina to be more specific, and it has taken root quite nicely. There were a lot of aerial roots on it, so of course that makes it easier for it to take root, but it is time to clean it up simply a bit, because there has been of course some dieback, as can be expected. So I just want to take out, first of all, some of the dried out aerial roots here. Then this one here is the most prominent dieback, so we take it back to the last living leaf on this offshoot. This one here, I'm not sure if in general I will keep it. Until now I will keep it as it has some healthy growth on it. But if we look from other sides, there's definitely some branches here more on the lower part of the tree that we can take off, because they simply don't really do anything for the overall design of this tree that in future it potentially could have. There's also an aerial root that goes into nothing and is already quite brittle, so I can take that out. And also here some dead stubs that we can simply clean off a bit. Other than that, I wouldn't cut back too much on this one, to be honest, because it is, as I said, simply a cutting I took at this point. So I want to grow it actually a bit more wild, only to work already a bit on the branching. We can take off some of the tips here, also down here, take off the tip, simply to encourage it to branch out a bit more. This Ficus benjamina is actually quite profusely producing the sap, as you hopefully can see here also. So Ficus benjamina is, in my opinion, the variety of ficus that produces most of this sap. So if it's something that you're, for example, allergic against, maybe opt for other ficus varieties. They will probably do better than that for you. So let's move on to our last tree, which is my bigger, more mature ficus bonsai. One of the ficus bonsais that I have that is also, again, definitely after summer now in need of a prune. I have this one in a west-facing window, and I only pruned it actually when I got it into my home earlier this spring. So the whole growth season, it has had time to grow now. Of course, first it needed to adjust a bit to its new environment, but I think it has done that quite nicely. And now it's time to actually start working on it a bit more. Here is a dying leaf that we can take off. A ficus often develops these sort of dying leaves that get this blotchy yellow greenish pattern on it. So doesn't mean the tree is sick, it's simply the way those leaves are dying off. Here's a very long shoot that we can reduce quite considerably. So we'll take off this whole thing, which of course would make a great cutting if we simply take off the lower branches or the lower leaves. Maybe even this one, stick it into soil, and normally it roots quite nicely after a couple of weeks. Good, from this side I would take some of the tips still out here. Also, of course, simply encouraging it to branch out a bit more. Also here. This one on the back here, let me see, is way too laggy, so I will try to actually take it back to one leaf here. And here we can see a lot of growth that is not as desirable, to be honest. So I will take this one also out with quite drastic cuts here, maybe even this very big leaf here still, just to give it again more shape. Here I'm quite happy with this lower branch, how it's developing, so I will not interfere too much here, maybe simply cut it back here a bit. But other than that, yeah, I'll also take out the tip here. And that is fine. Here is also, of course, a higher branch there where we can take off the tip. And here also simply taking out some tips, as well as, no, here we'll actually leave it on because I see this is a new branch forming. So it does make sense to leave it on here. Here we can go a bit in as well as here in the back. And I would say that's it for the moment. There is some growth developing in here, so take that one out already also. But other than that, I would say this one is fine the way it is. So let's move it to the side. And as I said, there is still my Ficus Ginseng that I have repotted recently that is also in need of a bit of a prune, because a lot of suckers are developing on it again down here. So definitely, once again, time to take this one out. Of course, it's a good sign that the very drastic repotting actually did not harm the tree. It has settled in into its new pot. So that, of course, is always good news. And you can see I really love how dense this tree actually is. So I don't want to go in too much. I just want to really take off the tips to have it branch out more. And that is simply more beneficial for the tree than also, and it gives me a better view again of the structure of the branches. So if we look at it, there's a lot of new growth here that we take off the tips, as I said, open it up a bit more and also help it to branch out in the future. Up here, we do already see this branching out because it is a point I cut previously before. So definitely doing quite nicely here. Also here, a lower branch that again is getting new leaves coming in. It was bare for quite a while, but it back-budded quite nicely there. And maybe also on this side, simply we go in, take some of this new foliage out. But other than that, I am quite happy with this one. Just really open it up a bit, as I said. But I want to get it anyway a bit bushier right now, have more ramification happening, and then at a later point really prune it back a bit more harshly, probably. But up at this point, I would leave it at that. And that is already the last tree for today that we're going to look at for pruning. I will continue, of course, to do videos like this, also try to get more into the live streaming, making videos like this where we simply look at a multitude of trees. So if you're interested in that, simply tune in for the next live video.